From my travels, it feels like naturism is a very wide world, and I get the intention that in South Africa it's a little bit the same. Do you know why?
It's actually quite a sensitive, there's a sensitive answer to it. Some people don't really like it, but we just have to face the facts about this situation. From my observation, there's a lot of the colonial history that has played a big part, especially on black individuals. We tend to sort of focus on following the colonial pattern, what was given to us. So religion, some of the religions were given to us. Some of the ways of behaving, dress codes, culture, they were given to us. And although some of it was actually oppressed on us, we went on to adopt it quite well, and perhaps even adopt it better than the colonial masters themselves. And therefore it brought about a lot of this whole shaming and tabooism that is involved in nudity in general. And you do see it with Europeans to say, oh, but Europeans are doing it differently. How then are we not following in that pattern? But it's not so much what they're doing now as it is what we were told to do then. And a lot of our cultures were demonized. The way we approached religion and spirituality, the way we addressed even medicine, it was demonized during the colonial era. And that demonization still has its effects right now at this moment. And that's why you find that it's actually easier for white people to get into naturism, and a little bit more difficult for black people to get into naturism. That's my observation of it in general. What I also notice is people want to see themselves. So there's a lot of Westerners who adopt naturism, practice it, and it's so much easier for another white child because they see themselves to get into it, and they really don't see a lot of black people getting into it, and then they hold back even if they really had a very strong interest, they really wanted to get into it. But when you don't see yourself in the lifestyle and you don't have role models, you don't have others sort of showing up within the lifestyle, you tend to hold back. So those, I would say, are the two major reasons why you have a lot of black Africans not getting into naturism in general.
You wrote a book called Excuse My Nudist, and it's a really good book. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video because it's something you have to read. And for me, what was the biggest eye-opener is because I don't really care about skin color. Like, for me, everybody is welcome.
Yeah.
But I never realized how difficult it is for somebody with another skin color, another skin tint, to enter in a white world. But I imagine that most of the people who watch this video may not have read your book, so can you please tell us a bit about your experience, of your first naturist experience at Sunida?
Yeah, so our first experience actually was my wife and I. I must say it was a bit daunting, but there was an element of excitement because I actually did not know where we were going. It was a surprise trip organized by my wife. She had researched naturism. I brought it to her because I was interested in it, and she went on to research, and then she discovered Sun Eden on the internet. Now when she discovered it, she said, okay fine, let's go on your sort of a birthday surprise, let's visit this place. And I did not know where I was going. Only when we were close enough, that's when she said, hey, do you know about this place? And I was like, not really. And then she went on to explain that, yeah, now we're getting into so that's when the sort of excitement kicked in, but I was also a bit nervous now from that point, wondering, oh, okay, what's going to happen? How's it going to work out? And that sort of thing. So when we went in, she had booked, so we were recognized immediately. And then when we went in, we went to reception, and there was an immediate culture shock, I think. Although I had wanted to get into naturism, still, you know, there is that element that now this is reality. Now the reality kicks in, and there's a naked, I think she may have been a bit of a senior citizen, receptionist. There she is naked, and in sort of the black culture, you really don't see your seniors naked, you know. especially at home and that sort of thing. And then another old elderly gentleman comes in, and it was like, yeah, oh, okay, wait a minute, you know. So yeah, so there was that culture shock. Them being white as well, although I had expected it because I had researched it as well. I had discovered that it is pretty much, very much a white sort of lifestyle still in South Africa. So I was expecting it, but reality obviously hits you in the face. And yeah, I was a bit surprised, to be honest. Fortunately for them, they were very relaxed about it. You know, similar to what some of the things we were saying off camera, where you say that when you speak in a relaxed manner, you're not awkward about it. You know, you're not fussy about it. You also make the other person relax. So they were very relaxed, like nothing was wrong. You know, it's a normal day under the sun. So it made me to relax a little bit. But then after the whole reception experience, we then went out and discovered that, oh, okay, we're the only black people here. We're the only black couple here. Everybody else is white. And you always have that feeling, you know, where you feel like you stand out, you know, because you are different. You feel like people are seeing you. They're looking at you. But funny enough, after some time, I actually realized that people, you know, they were going about their own business. They notice you, and they'll say hi, and they'll say, oh yeah, there's a new couple there and there. But it's not a big issue. They're not making a big fuss about it, you know. But I realized that a lot of it was actually in my own mind. It was not real to the others. And I came across a saying once upon a time that quite often what you think the other person is thinking is often wrong, you know. And I actually learned that over time being in naturism as well, you know, that a lot of things that, oh, these people are looking at me, these people are thinking of me in this way or that way, and whatever the case is, you know, it really wasn't like that to a large extent.
And why did you decide to write a book about your experience?
Oh yes, so I was actually going through, it was COVID times. I think we were still going through lockdowns here in South Africa, and then they sort of eased the lockdowns a little bit, and they could allow us now to go out and that sort of thing. So I really wanted to get out, you know. I was missing naturism, I was missing the lifestyle, and I really wanted to get out. And that first instance when I did go out, that's when I think, after that occasion, when we were driving back, that's when this idea came to me that, no man, you know what, I was sitting under a sort of restricted position for my own liking, and now I'm at this liberated position after the experience, and I felt I wanted to share that with as many people as possible. But I actually wanted to share it in a very honest way. You know, I wanted to speak from my heart, what I was feeling, getting into the history, you know, of how I got into researching naturism in the first place. Because COVID reminded me, the restrictions on COVID reminded me of some of the sort of depressive state I had before I became a naturist. It brought back some of those memories, triggered a few things, you know, to me to say, you know what, we're back in this restrictive state. Yeah, fair enough, it's a virus that's creating this. It's this time around, it's a virus. It's not really my own doing and the circumstances around me, but it's bringing back the negative memories. And let me rather tell somebody about it, because when you write a book, you are thinking about telling a person. You know, and however many people it reaches, you're thinking about telling a person who may want to hear the story, this kind of story, and perhaps it brings a bit of healing and it brings a bit of release for them as well.
So now you're organizing naturist events, and I've had the opportunity to participate in one. Obviously, we didn't film this, but something that I immediately noticed is that a lot of the people here are quite young, much younger than you see in let's call it white naturism. Is naturism in South Africa among black people more a younger movement?
Yeah, so I think somebody said, and I don't know, I think it could be one of our friends, He said that we are actually the first black generation to get into naturism. Many of us actually millennials here, and I think that's what's causing, this sort of youthful movement of blacks into it, because technically we are the sort of the first black generation to get into it. With time, give it, let's say now 20 years, and I'm still a naturist, it's gonna turn and it's gonna be, oh, they're old black naturists, but that's because our time has now moved on a bit, and then there will be other younger people coming in, but it has to start somewhere. And where it starts is where it starts, and then those people are obviously going to age with it. And as they age with it, they bring in the different dynamics of age and that sort of thing. And you might just find that when we are a bit older, you might find other younger people now saying, wait a minute, I mean, it's just old black people, and then they're thinking of also creating their own spaces, of youthful sort of naturism, if I can put it that way. So yeah, there definitely is that, but I think it's because the internet, the information age has brought it to us. We've discovered it, we've researched it, we've read about, oh, okay, fine, it started in this country, it started to migrate from Germany to the rest of Europe like this, and you understand? So all of that history we are getting, whereas our parents never had it, our grandparents never had it. So they couldn't necessarily sort of push or advocate for something they don't know. And the information age has definitely helped us to advocate for a lifestyle like naturism and that sort of thing. It came at a time where millennials are still pretty much young, and most millennials are the ones that are very active on the internet and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think the internet and information helped generate that kind of movement and generate a more youthful type of naturism in South Africa, and a more youthful black naturism in South Africa.
If you had to give a tip for people who are interested in becoming naturists, and you get 140 words, like a tweet, what's your tip?
I think for me, I would say if you wanted to get into something empowering, if you wanted to get into something empowering for yourself, in ways that perhaps you never really imagined it, lifestyles like naturism, are the kinds of lifestyles you should be looking at. That's the sort of direction you should be, because I always say naturism is medicine, and I think everybody needs their own dose of medicine.